to congratulate the National Assembly for kicking out this bill is the NDLEA, who have said that this bill would have been a clog in this, in the wheels of their fight against drug abuse in Nigeria. Even though there are people who are opposing this, and the likes of them is the presidential candidate of the AAC, Omoyele Sowore. In a bit, we're going to be talking with Omoyele Sowore, but before we went on that break, we still have joining us on the phone David Folaranmi. David is a former addict who's now helping reform the lives of young people in Nigeria. From the statistics that we have, 40% of young people in Nigeria are addicted to drugs of all kinds. I mean, you can name them, whether they be exotic, whether they be the normal drugs, whether they be crack. There's a high percentage of young people who are addicted to drugs. David, before we went on that break, we apologize. Zessa jumped in on us while we were having that conversation. I'm gonna bring in Omoyele Sowore for us to take a listen to what Omoyele Sowore has to say about this issue of cannabis, because I'm curious to understand why he would be in support of cannabis being legalized in a country where we're seriously fighting against drug abuse. I think we can get Omoyele Sowore to join us now. Sam, are we ready? Okay. While we try to get him on, you do work with young people, David. You go to primary schools, you go to secondary schools. I don't know if you go to tertiary institutions where, like you said, for you picked up that habit when you went to school as an adult. What do you think is the major factor that pushes a lot of people into drugs? Is it peer pressure? Is it depression? What exactly is the major factor that gets people hooked on drugs?
Like I always tell people, for me, it starts from the family. What are the values in the family? What is the level of education and information that is being put out there from the family unit? There are many factors, causes, and also predisposing factors that can make young people dabble into drugs, such as, like you mentioned, peer pressure, probably a lack of information on the effects of certain drugs, mental health illnesses. We also have genetic factors, we have environmental factors, etc. But I still tell people, if the family unit can actually educate the younger ones and put out the right examples for them, then it will be very difficult for these ones to get into struggles with addiction, drug use, and then in turn addiction. So I think that's the major factors that causes young people to get hooked up on drugs.
David, I want to differ a bit, because there are people who I know who come from very good homes, who have had a great childhood, but they're also some of them have found their way into a rehabilitation center, or even had schizophrenia as a result of drugs, dabbling into it. I mean, I the last time I had one guy who runs a rehabilitation center here in Lagos. He talked about the fact that they're preachers, people who you'd think would have certain values and value systems, guarding their day-to-day lives and decisions. These people also make the cut of people who, are engaged in drug abuse. So really, where does the issue of home training or the background, the home front come in here?
Okay, thank you very much. Like you said, I work with a lot of young people too, and I work with people who struggle with substance use disorder. And I've seen several cases week in, week out of people who are from quote unquote seemingly good homes with good moral backgrounds and things like that. However, remember, we don't live in these homes. We only see it from outside. We can only see what's happening from outside. Now, I have the case of a young girl who is struggling with cocaine addiction currently. And then how did all of this happen? When we got into talking to her and everything, she now told us that from her dad's phone, which she was using once, she saw pornography. So her addiction to cocaine did not even start as a drug addiction. It started from addiction to pornography. And then from there, she met somebody who now introduced her to drugs. Now, if you know the family of this person, you would never believe that something like this can come out from that family. You never believe the allegations that
I want to hear more of this, but quickly, I think we're being joined by Omoyele Sowore. Let's get to hear what Sowore has to say quickly,
okay, please.
And then of course we'll bring you back in.
Okay.
It has so many uses that the parts that a lot of people claim is the drug aspect of it is just about 3% of cannabis. And that is the one that gets you high. I think it's called THC. But apart from that, cannabis, or the hemp, as it's known, has so many uses. It can be used to make clothes, T-shirts. It can be used to make concrete, to build, very soundproof houses that can resist weather. It can be used for medicine. A range of medical uses have been exposed to the world. And what I'm just simply saying is that if you have cannabis growing very well in a country like Nigeria, in Ekiti State, Ondo State, Edo, Delta, and you can make some $3 to $4 billion a year from legalizing cannabis, exporting it to those who need it, why are you criminalizing it? Why do you set up a stake where you burn down cannabis and at the end of the year, you burn over 1.5 trillion naira worth of cannabis when the budget of Nigeria is 21 trillion a year? Why can't you just sell it and make the money and use it for other developments? You are smoking cigarettes. Cigarette is legal in Nigeria and it kills people. Cigarette gives you cancer, lung cancer, and other. Alcohol is legal in Nigeria. It kills people. So cannabis is not known to have, not much of a side effect except if you take it too much. Why are you criminalizing it? And I think it doesn't make sense, considering that the rest of the world is now moving straight to legalizing cannabis, even in countries of the world that have very tight drug laws. Countries like Thailand have legalized cannabis. A lot of states in the U.S. Canada makes over $4 billion from cannabis sales alone every year. The state of Colorado in the U.S. makes a huge amount of money from cannabis. New York State is about to legalize cannabis. Already, they have raked in over $400 million from just licensing alone. So, but Nigerians like to just be behind everything. And before you know it, our own brand of cannabis will be declared illegal or substandard. And we'll be forced to be importing cannabinoid oil. A small cannabinoid oil tint is about $50. Sorry, it's about 50,000 naira in Nigeria. So I don't know how to explain to people that we're just here maybe a little bit ahead of the curve in terms of understanding where the world's headed. So, and just to be sure, if you want to get to know more, most Nigerians don't even know that the NDLA licenses people to grow cannabis. They do. They already license cannabis growers, but it's just like it's not well known, it's not public. They claim it for research purpose, whatever purpose, but they're already doing it. And they're selling cannabis themselves. NDLA officers are selling cannabis.
Those are allegations that we can't confirm. But then the same NDLA you are accusing of allegedly selling cannabis, are the same people who were very quick to applaud the National Assembly for throwing out that bill in the first instance. They're saying it's unnecessary. They're fighting a war already. I mean, I have a statistic here that says 40% of Nigerian young people between the ages of 18 and 35
are deeply, involved in drug abuse. And cannabis, whether we like it or not, is also classified in this
abuse.
country as, hard drugs.
People are involved in drug abuse. And maybe you don't understand the percentages or the statistics from the point of view of how many people are consuming cannabis. There are over 20 million Nigerians consuming cannabis. Do you know that as well? So where do they get their cannabis from? Because they are freely available. Everybody's just acting the ostrich. Cannabis is available everywhere in Nigeria. There's no way you get
but
to
so
that.
are other hard drugs in this country that the NDLEA is fighting against. I know.
NDLEA is not fighting against.
Because people have access to buying it doesn't mean that it's legal.
They are protecting drug laws. No, I'm just telling you that I'm not interested in asinine arguments, of people who say, well, everybody who is smoking weed is going to go see. I don't smoke weed, but I understand that weed, cannabis or marijuana, Indian hemp, as you call it, is an economic crop. And I'm just saying, instead of waiting forever until your oil dries up, why don't you try diversifying it? Invest in growing, let it provide employment, export it, and sell to the rest of the world and make money off of it, instead of wasting your time debating what the rest of the world has already understood. South Africa has legalized weed, the US, Canada. Where else is left? There's no legalized weed, except the pretenders here who are saying that, they are fighting drug war. And yet you have hordes and hordes of cocaine, heroin entering the country and leaving the country every day. So if for instance, Ondo State, which is my state, can make $1 billion from growing, processing, and exporting wheat, if you get a wheat refinery in Ondo State, why would Ondo State be begging the federal government for oil money for, that is drying up on a monthly basis? Why would Edo State government begging the Nigerian government for oil money when you can grow wheat, cannabis, and make huge amount of money and profit from it?
I'm curious. I'm curious. I'm so sorry to jump in. Let me just jump in. I'm curious for all of the most beautiful natural resources that Mother Nature has endowed our country with, and all the great ideas on how to divest away from oil. Cannabis should be a priority. Why?
It's already a priority for countries that are smart. Because
but for Nigeria, we have so many natural resources. Why should we be prioritizing?
It's not just weed. Medicine. It's medicine. I won't be surprised if you have friends who are using cannabinoid oil. I won't be surprised even you yourself maybe you use cannabis without knowing it. Some of the best hair products are made of cannabis. Do you know that? Did I just tell you that your t-shirt, some of the best t-shirts I've ever worn in my life while I was living in the US, were made of hemp? Are you getting me? So it is not just limited to the 3% THC that everybody is ignorantly talking about. This is an economic crop. Well, with regards to THC and getting high, well, that's with everything. If you drink too much of water, it can kill you. So anybody can abuse anything, including water. But I'm saying, look at the economic benefits of cannabis. Look at what it could do for employment. Look at what it could do for providing jobs, providing extra income for states across the country, and all the good things that it could give for you, treating cancer, for instance, and treating arthritis, and all the great benefits. You should just type in, the benefits of cannabis. There are more products from cannabis than you can get from oil, refining oil. And it doesn't even destroy your environment. Each time you make $1 billion or dollars from crude oil, an entire state is almost ruined. The waters are polluted. It doesn't happen with cannabis, but you can make as much money from cannabis as you can make from exploiting oil. So this argument I'm having with you, honestly, is not something we should be talking about. But hey, I'm trapped like every one of you in the ignoramus of leadership in Nigeria. Leaders just don't understand these things. You'll be surprised, by the way, that most of these leaders who are talking about cannabis are themselves some of the biggest consumers of cannabis.
So let me ask you, why do you, in your words, because it's not my words, you're saying that it's more of a hypocrisy that we're displaying right now in the country as opposed to embracing the health and economic benefits why do you think that our country is doing what it's doing and lumping, again, in your words, cannabis with other hard drugs, being that you have said that there's so many things that we're using on a daily that has cannabis in it? Why do you think we're choosing to take this position? Or in your words, why do you think we're being hypocritical about it?
Yeah, because Nigeria is the headquarters of hypocrisy, and it's because of religion, mostly religion. Everybody in Nigeria wants to be holier than the Pope, right? And just like the way religion was dumped on us, and we don't ask questions, even when the people who brought religion to us are daily tweaking their religious beliefs, we are stuck with the old religion that we inherited before even colonialism came, because it was through religion that they were able to get most people in Nigeria to become slaves through Badagry port. Over 4 to 5 million people were driven out, in the name of religion. In the name of religion, a lot of slaves were taken from the northern part of the country. So it's fundamentally a problem with mindsets, and they'll be tweaking our minds with religion for the longest time. Except we liberate our minds from those places, you are not going to be able to have these arguments and in a way that is successful. It's the same thing that people do, here. With regards to every lifestyle, the Nigeria leaders want to tell you how to dress, where to go to school. Even when you go to higher institutions, Nigerian leaders want to give you uniform because they are interested in mind control. And they will lie to you about things that are not true and tell you whatever is a lie is the truth, because they keep telling the same lie all over and over again. And our citizens, unfortunately, believe these lies. That's why we are where we are today. We are stuck with just one single mindset, a single line of story. Everybody that doesn't understand how marijuana or cannabis works has the same story. Oh, it will make people mad if cannabis is legalized. And yet, the illegal substance called cannabis has 20 million people hooked on it, using it for different reasons. And do you think if 20 million people are mad in Nigeria, you can get out of your house? You understand? How about people who don't even know cannabis, who have mental issues?
Could he also, I'm not holding before the NDLA, but could he also be that they're having a problem with having to deal with...
I just wanted to tell you that, look, even your soak away, right? That gas that forms at that small pipe out of your soak away, do you know it is drugs? It's even more deadly than some of the drugs you have ever been aware of. Your gates man, everybody is hooked on it. So many of these things have to do with how the society is also governed. People have no jobs, have no life. They are getting high in whatever they can lay their hands on. So it has nothing to do with cannabis.
So why add cannabis? Why add cannabis if we're unable to regulate?
Because cannabis doesn't make you mad. That's what I'm telling you. You are a public radio personality. You should do your research.
Well, I don't remember me saying that cannabis makes you mad, but I'm saying it is considered a drug.
Have you ever smoked cannabis before?
Why would I smoke anything?
Exactly. So why are you demonizing something that you have never tasted before?
Oh, that's not me. The National Assembly, the NDLA, I have a position that this is a drug. It's still qualified as a drug.
Because they are stuck in the past. These guys, a lot of the people who are leaders of Nigeria are ignorant. I mean, they're ignorant about anything happening in the world. They're ignorant about governance. They're ignorant about medicine. They're ignorant about education. A lot of them didn't even go to school. Somebody wrote their exams for them. So how do you expect them to understand how to work?
We can't say a lot of them are ignorant. There are people who know about drugs and have done research. We can't lump everybody together because of the position that you hold.
Do you think that everybody in Canada, all the parliamentarians in Canada, are ignorant?
Well, David, we've had an earful here. Mr. Sowore, we have to take the position of David on this issue. David, Mr. Sowore is saying that, look, this is something that is purely medicinal. There are lots of, ailments that cannabis oil can treat. And then there's the agricultural aspect to it. There are lots of countries like Thailand, etc., are benefiting from cannabis. Why are we demonizing it? I want you to step in now because you're the expert.
Okay, thank you very much. I'll start from saying the last time I was here on this, yes, there are benefits of cultivating cannabis. But I also said, and I have to state this categorically, is our country, Nigeria, ready for this at this time? A few years ago, the governor of Ondo State, which happens to be where Mr. Sowore is from, came heavily saying he wanted to legalize and start cultivating cannabis in the state because of the economic benefits. And I took my time to respond to that, to respond to him saying, look, we are not ready for it right now. Is the government going to take full responsibility for the cultivation of cannabis and, quote and unquote, the exportation, just like Sowore has said? And is the government going to make sure that these cannabis is not going to filter back into
David,
the
I'm
system?
so sorry to do this again. We have to go for a quick break, and then we'll come back and talk. Stay with us. All right.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.
Been barred. Not to worry. Link your NIN and unbar your 9 mobile line with ease. Dial *996# and select option 2, or visit 9mobile.com.ng/NIN. You also get up to 20K for calls and up to 20 gig data when you link your line. If you are yet to enroll your NIN, please visit any 9 Mobile Experience Center now. Remember, dial *996#, select option 2, or visit 9mobile.com.ng/NIN now. 9 Mobile.
Good afternoon, sir. Please, I need a room to rent in your house.
Okay, where do you work?
I'm a nurse.
That means you won't owe me rent. Congratulations, young lady. You have yourself a house.
Well, thank you so much, sir. So, how much is the rent?
90,000 naira. Oh, but wait, where are you from?
I am from Akamata.
Akamata what? Akamata in my house? If you know how you got into my house, please get out right away. My spirit and that of Akamata people don't have anything to do together.
Sir, what have I done?
Your people from Akamata are known for bad things. That is what they represent, and you can't live in my house. Just get out right away.
What's going on?
Leave my house, young lady. Yes, our differences extend to our languages, culture, food, and even belief. But we are bound together by the cord of love. With one heart, with one voice, we will make Nigeria a hub of greatness, a place where the people live as one.
This message is brought to you from the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD, with support from the UK government.
If you're wondering how I keep up with my groove, I stay hydrated even when I'm on the move. I'm not gonna let anything weigh me down cause I'm on the go. So have you refreshed and gingered with Seaway water? Oh yeah, make you drink more water. Drink more water. And mind your business. Mind your business. Seaway for every family, live life to the fullest. Make you drink more water. Drink more water. And mind your business. Mind your business. Seaway for every family, live life to the fullest.
You can do more when you're healthy and hydrated. Drink Seaway. Available in 75 cl, 150 cl, and dispenser water. Available app to enjoy living to your doorstep. Always choose the water you can trust. Seaway for every family.
Aha, whether na cash or transfer. Money na money. Once the other person don't collect, transaction complete, case closed. Money na money. If cash not there to transfer, use ATM, USSD, POS, QR code. If we use Idara, money na money, case closed. Whether you dey by yourself, money na money. Once the other person don't collect, transaction complete, case closed.
As Central Bank of Nigeria don't announce change of currency, make we no panic. Whether you want pay or you collect money, different options for ground. In case cash no day available, you fit use mobile app, internet banking, ATM, POS, USSD, QR code, e-Naira, and others then take do your transaction. And if you no get bank account, visit your bank, make them open them for you. Make you no panic. Last, all of us go day alright. This message now from Bankers Committee.
After so many years of bringing you laughter, Real Life Entertainment is back with a bang with Laugh for Christ's Sake with Julius the Genius Agu at 50 live in Lagos. An evening of gospel rhythm and jokes. Come and laugh away your pains and sorrows of the elections and dance as Julius the Junior's Agu celebrates his golden age. This is happening live on Sunday night, April 2023, Easter Sunday, at the Bamura Hall of the Federal Palace Hotel, Victoria Island, Lagos. Red carpet 5 p.m. and showtime 6 p.m. Tickets 20,000 naira. Gold table 1 million naira. Premium table 2 million naira. Get your tickets at TellerAfricaTickets.com. For sponsorship and inquiries, please call 0815-646-9480. Official airline, Dana Air. Laugh for Christ's sake with Julius Agu at 50 is sponsored by P1 Group, Minimi, Hazier Beaters, and Age Well. Media support.
Nigeria Info.
99.3 Nigeria Info, your number one station for talk. Let's talk. Only one station gives you great talk every day.
On the show yesterday, you spoke about the tariff hike, electricity tariff hike.
Yes.
I'm hearing news today that it's been postponed till next year.
City of Lagos, did I say it yesterday? I am a prophet.
Hear the news and tell us your views.
Congratulations once again to Liverpool. Despite the disastrous outing they had tonight.
Your number one station for talk.
You know, WHO gave a guideline for organizations, yes, to implement to reduce the spread of coronavirus in your group, in your companies. Here in M Group, we've done
99.3 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. You are listening to Open Thought on the sunny side with choice.
Yes, it's still Open Thought, and we're talking about drug abuse, and we're looking majorly at the bill that was tossed out by the National Assembly, the Cannabis bill. Our guests are the AAC presidential candidate Omoyele Sowore and David Folaranmi, who is a mental health expert and who's also an addiction professional. David, I want to apologize again. We always have to go on these breaks when you're trying to make a very important point, but don't worry, we're not going to stop you now. So go ahead.
Okay. So very quickly, let me drive this point home. Is marijuana, is cannabis medicine? You know, components of the marijuana plant could have medicinal properties. That's correct. Mm-hmm. That's not the same as medicine. A medicine is when a laboratory extracts the medicinal compound, standardizes it, mm-hmm. and doses it. Now,
Are you there, David? Hello, David? David, can you hear me?
Can you hear?
We lost that connection for a bit, but can you hear me now?
Yes, I can.
All right, go ahead. You were trying to tell us that, you know, the difference between something that's medicinal and the extraction process. Yes.
Exactly. I was saying it's marijuana and medicine, and I was trying to explain that components of the marijuana plant, might actually have medicinal properties. Now, this is the part of the plant that is supposed to be commercialized. A medicine is when a laboratory extracts a medicinal compound, standardizes it, which means that it will do the same every time, mm-hmm. and then prescribes it in doses. Now, is our guest, Mr. Sowore, saying that the government is actually going to cultivate marijuana in the country and go through this process of extracting just the medicinal aspect of it for commercial purposes, or we're just going to cultivate tons and tons and acres of marijuana that can be very dangerous to our youth? The term medicinal marijuana is often applied to the whole unprocessed marijuana plant or its crude extract.
But I think the other question is, do we have what it takes to process the marijuana or the cannabis in itself to get to that form where we can call it medicinal? Because, I mean...
yes, that's a good question, Mary-Ann. But assuming we even have that, is that what the government is saying they are going to do? Because it's just a component of the marijuana plant that can actually be used for medicinal purposes. Mr. Sowore has been going on about how you can make $1 billion from cultivating marijuana in Ondo State and all of that. Well, that's fine. But is he talking about marijuana as a plant that can actually get people high and cause them to suffer schizophrenia, or the components in it that can be used for medicinal purposes? Because the thing is, marijuana is sometimes marketed as a medicine. The perception of the drug has changed. But the basic facts about marijuana have haven't changed just because it's marketed as a medicine.
Mm-hmm.
And while this debate over the legalization process and all of this goes on, we must remember that the cons will still outweigh the pros. In a country like Nigeria, where we don't have enough policing instance, we don't have enough government agencies to perform oversight functions. Mr. Sowore, in the bit I could hear, talked about the NDLEA helping people to cultivate marijuana and all this. Well, if he says that he probably has resources, because these are only allegations, and exactly. I thought you were going to bring that up.
I did tell him. I did say that they were allegations, and
these are only allegations that have not been proven. You know.
Yes.
And then he keeps saying that it's an economic crop, and I liked how you asked him that of all the natural resources we have in Nigeria, there's timber, there's so many natural resources we have in this country. Why are we hammering on the cultivation of marijuana that is not yet safe for use or for processing in the country?
Well, it's a good question, and this is part of the conversation that people are having. It's a debate of sorts, but I mean, on the National Assembly level, it's no more a conversation because it's been thrown out.
Yes.
But then, of course, the likes of the governor of his state, who had gone to Thailand to understand how, to process, cannabis, and then, their farms for cannabis. I'm wondering what the government's position and the NDLEA's position would be. But as we speak, the NDLEA has said that drug abuse among young people is at an alarming rate and that there's something that needs to be done. Yes, of course, we've seen the retired, we've seen, I think, Mr. Marawa, I'd like to call him Mr. Marawa. He's been on Nigerian Info talking about, the fight against drug abuse and how it's everybody's fight and not just the fight of the NDLEA. But I want to bring Lagosians in on this conversation because Sowore also made a case that so many of us may be using, maybe patronizing marijuana products or even marijuana. I mean, I've heard people say they put it in food, unfortunately, and somebody must have had an effect, a negative effect one way or the other. I've had a colleague who said that he didn't know what he was being served and then he reacted terribly after he had it. And these are some of the things that we need to be able to deal with. So how do we make sure that the ones that we already have in the system are properly policed? David, this is a bigger question. How do we make sure? Because like Sowore said, you can buy it anywhere, and that we're being hypocritical, that we're being excessively religious, that most of our leaders benefit from some of these so-called sale of cannabis, and that there are farms. How come these farms still exist? We want to bring Lagosians in. I see my phone lines already blinking. How do we make sure that we participate in this fight against drug abuse, even as there are a group of people who are advocating for certain drugs to be stepped down as hard drugs? Instead of being hard drugs, they can be seen as medicinal. What are your thoughts? 0700 993 993 993 0700 993 993 993. You can join the conversation if you're a lady. 01 465 7190. That's 01 465 7190. You can join the conversation on WhatsApp. Send us a message 0809 5975 805. Tweet at Nigeria Info FM. We're live on YouTube. You can be part of the conversation. Drop a comment, a question. David is still with us on the show this afternoon. Let me go to the phone lines. Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Mazude, calling you from Edu.
All right, Mazude, go ahead.
Cannabis is not a problem. The problem of people taking higher drug like cocaine or that is in the situation in the country is very dull. If Nigeria change the situation to be better, to be brighter.
So you're telling me that the people who are indulging or engaging in drugs are doing it because of the situation of the country? Really?
Yes, most of them are going in. I'm telling you, which I know about it. Not even in their hand. Their hand is not a problem. If in their hand is a problem, Ugu will be a problem. Peter will be a problem for the body. Because all is leaves, nature. I can tell you that
funny.
The Indian hemp does not have any problem. It was cocaine, all those big drugs that is disturbing people, making people to get addicted, like him. But Indian hemp doesn't have
So you don't think that cannabis is addictive?
No, No.
Can I ask you? Can I ask, Mazi? Have you tasted cannabis before?
No, I know about it. That's why I'm telling you.
Oh, really? And you haven't had any side effects?
No.
So this means that you have been engaging in drugs.
You need to control whatever you take. You want to control. If you don't control anything, even if it's a goosey, it will let you down.
Okay.
So you need to control your life and make sure that life is perfect in you by taking what you're supposed to take, not to take what is not supposed to take.
Okay, Mazi, thank you very much for calling. David, you heard what he said. Please come in.
Can I speak for a minute about that, please? Mm-hmm. Now, I think it's important that we discuss or we talk about the harmful effects of marijuana because from what our caller has just said, it's obvious that certain people don't even know what they are going into when they smoke a joint of marijuana. Mm-hmm. Now, the immediate effects of taking marijuana include rapid heartbeats, disorientation, lack of physical coordination, often followed by depression or sleepiness. Some users suffer panic attacks or anxiety. But you see, the problem does not end there. According to scientific studies, the active ingredients in cannabis, which I talked about earlier, is THC, tetrahydrocannabinol. Mm-hmm. This remains in the body for weeks or even months. Now, it will surprise you to know that marijuana smoke contains 50 to 70% of cancer-causing substances.
Wow.
A lot of people don't know that. A lot of people just think cancer-causing chemicals are in just tobacco. You also have this in marijuana. One major research study reported that a single cannabis joint can cause as much damage to the lungs as up to 5 regular cigarettes smoked one after the other. So I hope our previous caller is listening to me because I'm not just making this up. This is coming out of hours and years and months of research. Now, I'll round this up very quickly. Long-time joint smokers, that's marijuana smokers, often suffer from bronchitis and inflammation of the respiratory tract also. Then the drug can affect more than your physical health. Studies in Australia in 2008 linked years of heavy marijuana use to brain abnormalities. And Mary-Ann, trust me when I say I have people I'm working with currently that are suffering from severe brain damage simply by using marijuana. This is backed up by earlier research on the long-term effects of marijuana, which indicates changes in the brain similar to those caused by long-term use of other major drugs. Just like he was saying, the previous caller said the so-called higher drugs like cocaine or heroin are the ones that cause problems. Marijuana use can also cause some of the same effects on your brain.
Wow.
And a number of studies have shown the connection between continued marijuana use and psychosis. Marijuana can change the entire structure of sperm cells, deforming them. Thus, even small amounts of marijuana, now I just had to mention this in closing, small amounts of marijuana can cause temporary sterility in men. It's very important that we understand the effects, the harmful effects of marijuana, instead of listening to what people just say it can do or what people make you believe are the benefits of it. These are some of the harmful effects of the drug marijuana.
All right, let's take a few more calls. Hello, good afternoon.
Afternoon. God bless.
Why are you calling the female line, okay? You're not a woman now. Why are you calling the female line?
It's not a female line.
This is the female line.
Wow. Okay.
Calling the female line. Yes, please call me back. Thank you. Hello. Good afternoon. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, this is Lydie on the line.
Lydie, go ahead, please.
Good afternoon. God bless that man in that place. Yeah, a lot of people here go and they don't understand what it means to come. I don't think Nigeria is ripe for drug for them to pass a bill to support drug dealing in Nigeria, marijuana or whatever. Even though it's not even yet passed into law, just look at our youth. Some of their head they don't think straight. So what if they now make it a law? What if they now pass it for people now to be taken? Do you know that a lot of our youth will be gone? And Mr. Omoyele Sowore is talking about those ones, they have laws. You don't just see it anyhow. Look at there is no control. You can get it, you can take it. There's nobody controlling. But those countries they're well developed and they have laws. Now look at our youth with all what is happening in Nigeria. Most of them, their brains are damaged. Look at all the side effects of marijuana. Can you listen? How can we make such a law in our country? I think it should be totally banned and banned forever.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much. Just to put it out there, the bill has been tossed out. In other words, the bill was not necessarily further considered on the floor of the National Assembly, so it's been tossed out. But there is a possibility that they can bring it back, for further reconsideration. But for now, it's been, totally rejected by the National Assembly. Hello. Good afternoon. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good afternoon. This is Fatai.
Hi, Fatai. Go ahead. All right. Fatai, you're in a very noisy place, and you
I
may
want
not
to agree with your guest.
Fatai, can you move away from the noise, please?
Okay. Are you okay now?
Yes. Which of my guests are you disagreeing with?
The one you're talking with now. The one that you said knows about the
All right. What's your grouse?
inappropriate use of marijuana. People focus on marijuana as a way of you abusing drugs. People tend to use so many ways. Even if you go to the north right now, you see the Molams using soccer ways as a means of drug because they cannot even afford normal tablets that they use on a normal day because of the high cost of commodities these days. So if you are telling us that marijuana is the main source of drug abuse, it's not quite.
I don't think you. I don't think you were
listening.
listening to the conversation. Were you listening to the conversation?
Yeah, I've been listening.
I don't think so. Yeah, so if you did listen, we did not say that it's the main cause. We're saying it is qualified and classified as a drug, and it is being abused as we speak. We did not say at any point that it is the major cause of drug abuse. Drug abuse is when you are using something illegally. Okay, so you're abusing it. All right, I'm sure you weren't listening. Hello. Hello, good afternoon. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Oh dear, apologies. Please call us back. 0700 993 993 993. Hello, good afternoon. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello, good afternoon, Mary-Ann.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, this is Flora.
Flora, go ahead, please.
Yeah. I totally agree with that, your guest, not Sowore.
Okay.
Because in Nigeria now, we are battling to see how we can make our youth think right. You can see how every time people are complaining that in every corner of our society, like here in Lagos, every corner you go, you see them drinking, that even our law enforcement agencies will be there and nobody will do anything. And they are behaving very badly. You see so many vices everywhere that is attributed to that. So for me, I think we are not yet ripe for that, because for us to start cultivating that, I can tell you that when you go on the road, everybody will be going gaga. You won't know who to control again. So I don't think we should do that for now. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Flora, for calling. We appreciate your thoughts. Hello. Good afternoon. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Mary-Ann Okon.
Go ahead.
I greet you and greet your two guests. May I commend first the National Assembly for throwing that bill. Is that if you see what is happening in Otta, you can legalize it where there is social control and where there is a work law that can guide the controls. They cannot legalize cannabis in Nigeria as a unless they want all Nigeria to get about, including me, because I can not smoking, to 2001. That's what I said. That's the only thing that they have done in 8 years. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Your line is a bit problematic here. Thank you very much for calling. Hello.
Hello.
Yes, what's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, my name is Vincent.
Sorry, David, is it possible for you to mute whatever you're listening to us from, because we can get feedback?
Okay. Yeah, my name is Vincent.
Vincent, go ahead.
Yeah.
Vincent.
Legalizing cannabis in Nigeria is very good because it helps a lot.
Well, it's not. That's not the conversation. We're not legalizing it. It's been the bill to legalize it has been thrown out. It's been rejected by the National Assembly, so it's no longer up for conversation.
I wish they can bring it back, because I remember a certain time when my mom had issues, like she has high blood pressure. So the doctor actually commends me buying marijuana to mix a particular drugs for her. And how do I suppose to get that thing if that particular drug is not legalized? in the country.
Sorry, say that again. Sorry, say that again. The doctor recommended what? What exactly?
Recommended me getting a marijuana leaf. To make a
did
drug
the doctor
for her to
recommend a
calm her
leaf
blood
or
pressure
a
down.
drug? Because there is cannabis oil. There are so many things that has cannabis, but those things are legalized in other countries, but not in Nigeria. So I don't know of any medical doctor in this country. David, maybe you need to help me out. That would recommend the marijuana leaf itself.
No, I very much doubt that. I don't think any licensed medical practitioner would recommend or prescribe marijuana to treat the ailment or any sort of ailment at all.
Yeah.
Not for now in Nigeria, yes.
Okay, great. All right, well, we have 1 or 2 more minutes. Let me just take one last call, and David, you and I are going to wrap things up here. Hello.
Okay, fine.
Good afternoon. Hello, good afternoon. What's your name? Where are you
Hello,
calling
good
from?
afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yeah, me no Sheba.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what I want to say as regard to marijuana or Indian hemp, that those who deal with it, if you look at them a second time, you will know something is wrong with them. Even those on the top of a hem of affair. I know a boy who took it, he was rolling on the ground. The boy that brought him to go and sell the Indian hemp, they were blaming him. He said the boy has not eaten. So you can see that Nigeria is under the poverty level. By the time you start taking anything outside even the marijuana, you know what will happen on the road. And even those who are taking it, they look very weak and miserable. Hello? Hello?
We can hear you.
Okay, yeah. If you observe if you see those who are taking it, they look lean and wretched in the physical. Their brain doesn't function well. They can be tempted 10 times more than what they want.
Okay.
And they clean only with women.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for calling. David, I want us to wrap this up. Now, there are people who obviously do cannabis and don't look like they do drugs. There's several people who actually do drugs. I mean, I've seen a report that says that a huge percentage of people in Wall Street actually do drugs, but you never really know because these drugs are some sort of enhancers for them.
So I didn't get you at first.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
All right. In closing,
yes.
The last caller said that the people you see who do cannabis looks miserable, they look sick, but there are people who actually do drugs and they don't look it. But in closing, what should everybody take away from today's conversation?
We are not ready as a country, as a people, for the legalization of cannabis in Nigeria. I think I'm excited about the setback that the bill suffered in the House. And I think it's for the collective good of our society that bill was thrown out. There are so many things we didn't have the time to talk about today. And I must say that our guest, Mr. Sowore, had some points that there could be financial uses of the legalization and all of that. But we as a people right now, we're just not ready. We just don't have the control. We just don't have the organizations to perform oversight functions to make sure that it's not misused.
All right. Well, David Folaranmi is a mental health expert. He himself has been an addict, and now he's rehabilitated, he's clean, he's working with other people to understand the negative effects of drug abuse. Thank you so much, David. Always a pleasure to have you on the show. Thank you so much.
Look forward to being with you again.
All right. Well, Lagos, that's the show. We have to go. Thank you so much for being part of the conversation. It's very important that we take something away from this because 40%, I remind you, 40% of the average young persons in Nigeria are addicted to drugs, and that's not what we want. My name is Mary-Ann Okon. I will be back tomorrow at 12:30 on the sunny side. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter and Instagram, MIMIEYO. Up next is a break, and right after that, we will be bringing you some information that is very important to you, and for all of us. And then, of course, we'll be wrapping the show up on the other side. Stay with us.
So many years of bringing you life.
And I want to assume that you would run because I want to give the listeners context for the conversation.
In 2019, you were running mate to Atiku Abubakar. What did you learn then that you will not repeat this time?
Yes, when is the president coming out to address us?
There's a few things. One, I have a burden and a passion for young people.
The fact that you have elected a man does not mean then you begin to order him around. The president will do whatever is good for the country at any given time.
Mr. Adeshino, isn't the president responsible to the people?
What should the next president do to root out stakeholders who are complicit?
You fire those. Those that need to be fired are fired. It's looking like a brand new Chelsea, attacking with so much fluidity. And what can you say about that, Martin? I know you follow Chelsea quite closely.
I live close to the Chelsea training ground. That's what you mean by that.